My first video of the all-new, and I do mean all-new, 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR5 was all about the wrongs that were righted with the fourth-generation truck. The driving position is more humane, it's less fidgety going down the road, the chassis feels stronger with less impact shimmy, the transmission programming is more confident, and the turbocharged four-cylinder I-Force engine delivers a more satisfying torque curve than the V6. A much better truck, albeit at a higher price point. Many owners point their tacos at tough terrain. One of the many models on sale is the TRD Off Road. It's not a TRD Pro Off-Road, but it's much more than a trim package.
Most Tacoma miles will be on-road, but a lot of them will be off-road. And I'm with Matt here, professional off-road instructor, and we're gonna see what this can do.
Cool, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, keep me out of trouble, man.
Try.
Before we head into the wilderness, here's the 411 on the TRD Off-Road. The turbocharged 2.4-liter four-cylinder I-Force engine cranks out 278 horses and 317 pound-feet of torque low in the rev range. Its rear suspension is multi-link with coil springs. Ground clearance is 11 inches. There are 33-inch off-road oriented tires on 17-inch wheels. The optional sway bar disconnect is on the pre-production truck that I'm driving. Choose between an 8-speed automatic transmission with manual control here or a 6-speed manual. A personal preference? The automatic, since the manual's longish throws and clutch take-up near the top of the travel is awkward to me. Could be a pre-production thing. TRD Off-Road is equipped with part-time four-wheel drive, with 4 high and low and a locking center diff.
So the CV joints are something that we call a high-angle, high-torque joint. That means we have a special spline that we developed that allows for additional articulation from 26 degrees all the way up to 31 degrees. But more importantly, that spline is designed to manage and handle high torque at those high angles. This is critically important when you're crawling, when you're completely compressed in your suspension and you're goosing it to get out of that obstacle.
A solid reason the 2024 Tacoma goes down the road better is the frame. Built on the scalable TNGA-F platform that's under Tundra and Land Cruiser, multiple grades of steel are laser welded together to provide strength where it's needed and lightness where it's not. It's now fully boxed. The outgoing frame used a fairly long section of C-channel with less rigidity, easier for moisture to collect there as well. The base MSRP for TRD Off-Road is $45,000, and that includes destination from the factory in Mexico, and most buyers will want options. TRD Off-Road is about $4,000 more than the excellent Chevy Trail Boss when similarly equipped. It's more expensive to get into a Tacoma now. You know the other competitors: Ford Ranger, Honda Ridgeline, Jeep Gladiator, GMC Canyon, and Nissan Frontier. All have rugged off-road oriented variants to certain degrees.
So we're gonna stay to the right here.
Matt Frohlich is an off-road driving instructor out of the Moab area, drives a Toyota Tundra.
Again, a lot of these things, again, are gonna be pretty similar to what you've seen in the past, as far as button layout's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
a lot of the same things with drive mode, MTS, DAC, like downhill assist control, crawl, all that good stuff. One of the things that you're going to find almost immediately, though, is as we start driving and playing around with some of these systems, is they are way more refined than they have been in the past. So very smooth. Like crawl control will run almost in the background without you noticing it's even there. Same for downhill assist. It's a part-time four-wheel drive system.
Right.
Pretty much the same as most other Toyota part-time four-wheel drives, and we will have to do a 3-point turn here.
Okay.
Nobody's figured out how to get around it yet, including us. But yeah, so 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, locks the center diff, and then you have 4 low with the lock center diff.
Okay.
And again, all that's meaning is it's 50% to the front, 50% to the rear. You know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Toyota's multi-terrain select with mud, dirt, and sand modes can be used in 4 high and 4 low.
The great thing about Tacoma is the size. Some of these rigs are getting so big.
Yeah.
it's nice and trim, so you feel more confident going through stuff like this.
Well, I mean, this platform is really good for that because, like, you know, again, I mean, I've got a 2019 Tundra, and I live in Moab, and most of the trails out there are too narrow to realistically run that thing. Even with, you know, like, there's plenty of, like, you know, plenty that you still can, but like, this is just a better size. You know, like the 4Runners and the Tacomas, they go everywhere, and that's. I mean, these are a little bit wider than the previous generation, but it's not so much that it's prohibitive. You know, it's a little bit more roomy, a little bit more comfortable, but you're still able to get into the same places that you would have before.
There are optional skid plates for the engine, transfer case, fuel tank, and rear differential. Plus, there's an added front frame crossmember.
It has what we call a zero cross, different than some of the other vehicles. This is in the front of the vehicle. It provides additional rigidity, stability, a place for us to mount our bash plates, but also an area to protect our entire cooling package, which is up front. So that's one of these things that we talked about. How do we differentiate the grade? What do I pay for? What do I get when I move into a TRD series vehicle? We also recognize unique to this is you're going to be out maybe in Moab. You're going to be lugging, you're going to be in 4 low. Engine RPM are going to be up, but we also know that airflow is down. So while we have a very cool automatic transmission fluid cooling system integrated into our front cooling pack, when we move into the TRD series, we add an inline air to water cooler. Gives you about 15% more cooling capability, critical for those functions when our customers are using these not on the highway, but off-road at low speed.
TRD Off Road gets monotube Bilstein remote reservoir shocks with end stop control valve. Good stuff.
So this is going to be crawl control doing all the work for us. So it is accelerating and braking to maintain speed whether we're going up or downhill.
This is almost too easy.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Wow. And you know what? I remember crawl control being kind of jerky and clunky. This is so much better.
Yeah, it's way more refined than the previous generation. So as you know, as far as like, you're not going to feel that pedal vibration that you have in, you know, in some of the previous models. So you're not going to hear the ABS pump working.
Disc brakes at all corners are now standard on every Tacoma. TRD models get larger front binders.
Yeah, a nice, really sharp turn right here on the.
This does not have the optional surround view camera system, which would be nice.
That was not tight enough.
That's my excuse for poor positioning.
Yeah. Okay, so we're heading down here.
Yep. And you're good. You can kind of just let it roll. And again, anytime you want to overpower, you can. But again, you know, the idea of just giving gas going down a hill isn't necessarily what you're.
So, and hill descent control will come on automatically?
Yeah. So hill assist and crawl control in low range are more or less working as the same function.
Okay.
Downhill assist is going to be something I have at high range. So it's going to be basically 2 miles per hour to 18 miles per hour.
All right.
Got some moguls here.
Yeah.
Sway bar disconnect.
Let's stop here for just a second. So again, the idea here is, you know, leave it up to you. You can either run it driving it yourself. You can leave it in crawl control, whatever you want to do. We're going to run the first section with the sway bar connected. Once we get to the midway point, we're going to disconnect the sway bar.
Okay.
Just so you can see how much additional articulation that you're getting out of the suspension once that thing is released.
I can already tell the architecture of this is so much more rigid than the outgoing model.
Yeah.
The other one had lots of chassis flex, and this one is like solid as a rock.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed when I got in this thing as well.
Yeah.
So we don't have any traction control engaged either, so we'll just keep it walking. There you go. It still walks right through a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, not bad at all.
No. And let's go ahead and stop right here.
Okay.
So once you hit that button right there, the sway bar disconnect.
It's that simple?
You're going to hear it, yep. And then the light on right below the 4 low icon.
Okay.
We know it's disconnected. And now when you run through this section, let's see if you can feel a difference.
Oh yeah, it's softer.
Yeah. So again, just having that extra movement in the suspension means that it's going to be softer. It's going to be able to keep the wheels in contact with the ground better, which means more traction.
That's great.
Which means less work.
Fresh from Colorado Trail Boss and GMC Canyon AT4X, I can say those two are terrific trucks with upmarket manners and excellent off-road tech. Their turbocharged 4-cylinder engines are more refined and powerful, plus have an 1,100-pound towing advantage, to which Toyota says,
I'm not going to chase numbers. We're not a catalog. We're not chasing for catalog numbers. We want to make sure that our customers get technology and they get a specification in their vehicle that's usable to them every single day and that brings value. Very few of us live in peak horsepower, but every day we're driving these vehicles. We want to have good response, we want to have torque, and we want to have good drive force. That's the area that we're driving every day, whether we're towing, going through hills, or just going to and from to work.
It comes down to this: competition improves the breed. It's great to see solid choices in the mid-sized market again.
Nice and slippery.
4 high?
Yeah, let's do it. And actually, let's stop right here, mid-hill. So again, typically not the best way to approach something.
No. And there we go.
And you can feel it. So you have MTS working without. And the best system is the one that works without you even knowing it.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm a really good driver. And I'm an okay driver, but I'm not an experienced off-roader. This just makes me a better driver.
Yeah, it's just more tools in the tool bag.
Yeah. As a professional, do you come to rely on these things?
So typically, most of the training that I do is with vehicles that are fully open. You'll have a locking center diff and open front and rear. And again, the reason being is that we kind of, focus on technique over all the extra technology.
Right.
But the reality is that once you have that technique down, once you have that understanding,
Straight.
Yeah, then those extra tools are going to give you that much more of an edge.
Oh, yeah.
The rear diff locker is going to allow you to go more places than you ever could without it. All the traction control features, especially now that they've gotten better, and they've been good for a long time. But it's just one little evolution at a time where they just keep improving and
Tacoma TRD Off Road takes on the tough stuff without breathing hard, and it's more refined on-road than the outgoing generation. Off-road tech, like crawl control, is worlds better, and the turbocharged 4-cylinder has an excellent power band. That said, the V6 was a lot smoother, and there's a substantial price increase. But try talking a faithful Tacoma owner into anything else. Toyota will sell all it can make. Thanks to Matt Frohlich. It's always great to drive with a pro. I learn something new every time.
What it really comes down to is pretty simple. You want to keep the wheels equally weighted on the ground. That's going to give you the most traction.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that one of those tires isn't going to give out first. And when you got traction control there already, ready to clamp that tire down and keep those other ones working, then you're going to be able to go further.
Yeah.
And again, everybody has opinions on all that stuff, and there's some holdouts that think it's absolutely unnecessary, but it's like, I don't know, I think it's kind of the best of both worlds when you have like the mechanical tools like the lockers, and then you have the traction control.
And if you haven't seen it, check out my Tacoma SR5 video that focuses on-road performance. It's just one notch up from the very base level SR Tacoma, and so many people will be looking to buy that grade of truck. Plus, don't forget my Chevy Colorado and GMC Canyon videos. Hope to get to Ranger soon. Thanks for watching, folks. That's Driven. I'm Tom Volk.